What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson, and this is Gotham Season 3, Episode 8, Blood Rush. Gotta admit, this is a good improvement episode on the past couple, mainly because, like I said, they've had good stuff going on with the Mad Hatter, with all of that stuff, but it was marred by the fact that they were doing this stupid thing with Penguin and Enigma, where I just felt like, one, they're pushing a liberal agenda because, you have to have a homosexual relationship in there somehow. And two, it felt just forced as far as storylines go. And especially because, like, this seems to be Penguin turning back to evil Penguin, because he was evil and then kind of good, and then what happened with his mom and evil, and what happened with his dad evil, but then all of a sudden he's like, well, I want to help the city, so now he's kind of good, but now he's kind of becoming evil again, and it's all based on, oh, I'm jealous of this girl because Nigma likes her and not me. And it's just, it feels very, it not only feels forced as far as storylines go, like their relationship never really felt like anything more than a friendship until like 2 episodes ago. And then all of a sudden it's just like out of nowhere he's like, oh, I need to tell him how I feel about him. It's like, really? And then on top of that, it feels like a high school drama because of the whole like, oh, I like him but he likes her, and I'm jealous of that. So now I'm gonna break them up however I can. I'm gonna go to her and tell her the secret. And oh no, she doesn't like that. And that was not as, I mean, obviously it was still part of this episode, but one, it wasn't focused on as much, and two, what was going on was actually kind of interesting because we see whoever this girl is, which she may or may not be dead right now, but whoever this girl is, she is not just some library, whatever you call attendant, I guess would be the best word for it. You could tell there's something a little off about her because first of all, whenever Penguin goes to, like, Nigma asks him to go break up with her for him. Penguin goes there to tell her all of this, and she just, like, she calls him out, says, you feel the same way too, and then calls him out on pretty much everything, and figures out that the reason Nigma wants to break up is because of what he did to Kristen Kringle. And, figures all of that out, and then pretty much tells him, you can't have him. I'm going to keep him. I'm going to fight for him to get him back. And just really stands up to him. Just like, okay, what is up with this girl? And then Nigma comes over. She's dyed her hair back like to Kristen's color. And then forces him to go through kind of fake strangling her to get over his fears of hurting her. And just like, kind of looks like she's enjoying it a little. Like, this girl is very clearly not right. And so it kind of feels like it's actually the perfect match for Enigma. But then, of course, Penguin decides, well, if I can't get her out of his life through cheesy measures, I'm going to have to take more drastic measures. So he has one of his henchmen cut her brake lines. She's going to brake as she's heading towards a train track, which, if I were in that situation, my brakes weren't working, I'm heading towards an intersection where there's a train coming, I'm spinning into a wall because there's a higher chance of me surviving running into a wall than hitting a train. But I don't know. She didn't think about that for some reason, and straight into the train tracks. Not really clear whether or not she makes it out alive. If my theory about her being an Indian Hill escapee, though, is true, she may still be alive, because who knows what happened to her if it was actually Kristen brought back to life. That would be interesting to see. But anyway, that was that story. It was kind of interesting. It was, even though I'm still frustrated by the fact that they are doing this whole thing with Penguin and Enigma where it feels like it's, something out of a Disney Channel show, I like the turn it took in this one because it was a bit more interesting. It was a bit more strange and creepy from this Isabella girl's point of view. So really, I did enjoy that a lot more. And then on top of that, everything else in this episode was really, really good. I mean, you've got Barnes slowly going insane. He sees this guy who looks a little suspicious, follows him to this warehouse where he is disposing of a body by chopping it up and putting it in acid. So Barnes is like, you're just as guilty. Doesn't really show what happens. Well, Jim and Harvey show up at the crime scene, and it's bad. Guy's head is off, his body is hung up by a hook, and there's blood just everywhere. And I'm just like, holy crap, this is bad. At first it was just like, okay, so Barnes is losing his mind, he wants to punish criminals. Okay, this is, like even Jim says, this wasn't just some random act. You could tell there was something personal about it. So the fact that it was that personal, that Barnes actually did all of this to this one guy, is kind of showing just how far he's gone. And so he finally does find the doctor that ordered this guy to dispose of the body, and finds out, this is actually another theory that came to my mind about Isabella in the episode. Because this doctor is the one that apparently removes faces and puts them on somebody else, so takes their face off. If you haven't seen the movie, you don't get the reference. Anyway, but he's a doctor that does, like, pretty much face implant type thing. So there could also be a possibility that this Isabella girl was actually a different person, and then the doctor got Kristen's body and put Kristen's face on this girl. That could be a possibility too. But then it doesn't explain why she's so similar to Kristen, not just look-wise, but personality-wise as well. We'll see where that's going. But anyway, so Barnes shows up there and sees him doing all of this, has a girl on the table, starts to beat the crap out of him. This is actually, I forgot another scene. He goes to this one guy's billiards room and takes him down, asks him to show him where this doctor is. So it looks like he's about to kill the doctor and then brings him in. It's like, okay, so maybe he's not as far gone as I thought. But then, of course, the doctor has connections, so he gets released, and just so happens he goes to the party with, Lee and Mario's, whatever it's called, party, engagement party. And, of course, Barnes is there. He sees him. The only thing about this episode that I didn't agree with, if I was this doctor, I showed up at this party, and the police captain that looked like he was about to kill me earlier is at the same party, I'd be like, oh, that's not good. Because even when he's in the bathroom and Barnes is slamming his head against the sink, he's like, you're a police captain, you can't do this. It's like, didn't you see the look in his face earlier? He really wanted to, but then didn't. And then you show up again after him saying, it just didn't make sense to me. This guy clearly saw Barnes go a little bit crazy in his clinic and wasn't scared of him at all whenever he saw him again. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he should be scared of Barnes right now. I would be if that happened to me. If this guy comes in, throws me to the ground, looks like he's about to kill me, even though I'm like, I'm not resisting. I'd be a little worried. But anyway, so ultimately Barnes kills him by throwing him through the wall of the building. Holy crap. And, Jim obviously shows up, asks who did this to you, says Barnes. So Jim now knows. But on top of that, on top of that whole story, Jim returning to the precinct, we've got Lee telling Mario about it. Mario's not happy. We've got the whole engagement party. Jim and Harvey show up to find the doctor because they have enough evidence to bring him back in. And so, of course, Mario sees him, not happy at all because he's jealous. And so takes him into a room, closes the curtains. I'm like, dude, really? You really think you can take Jim in a fight? You don't know Jim. So that scene, though, between Jim and Mario, probably my favorite non-action scene I've had in this show, throughout these first three seasons. Because we've had a lot of good action scenes, we've had some good character moments, mainly between Bruce and Alfred, to be honest. We haven't had a lot of great character scenes, though, with Jim. This season has probably been his best character moments because he's been a little bit more edgy because he's not a cop anymore. But this scene just really, I was totally for Jim at this point. Because you've been kind of questioning at times when he's a cop. You're like, dude, you have to stay on the line. And then there are times when he's not a cop. You're like, well, you need to get back to the line. And it's been so back and forth. You're not really sure whether to root for him or to be like, Jim, wake up. This moment just feels like he knows what he's doing. Mario is all like, look, we know what happened. You told Tetch to shoot her because you still love her. You knew he'd shoot Bailey. You sacrificed your girlfriend to save her. And just like, Jim just says, first of all, if you want to keep Lee, lose the jealousy. It's weak. I'm just like, holy shit. That was a drop the mic moment. And then Jim just starts to walk away. And Mario's just like, Gordon. I'm just like, he's about to hit him. Turns, hits Jim. I'm like, oh, Jim's about to lose it. And then Jim just says, for Lee, I'll let you have that one for free. I'm like, Jim is mature. He feels so much more mature now. It feels like he's grown as a character from season 1. Season 1, Jim wouldn't have taken that. He would have ducked out of it. First of all, he wouldn't have taken it, and he would have just beaten the crap out of him and been like, look, stay out of my face. Something like that. This Jim's just like, you know what? I'm going to be a grown-up about this. I'm going to be an adult. I understand you're upset, but it makes you look like an idiot. It makes you look weak, the fact that you're getting upset about this. So I'm just going to let you have that one. Like, this is awesome. This is great. This is Jim. This is Jim Gordon. You don't mess with Jim Gordon. This is the Jim that's going to steal Lee out from under Mario because Mario's being a jackass. So I love this. It's brilliant. Really brilliant. So that was a great scene. Ultimately, we don't have any more. We have a little bit of talking earlier on in the episode between Jim and Lee. You can tell that there is still some chemistry going on there. Even though Lee is engaged, you can see she's not. She wants to be totally committed to this because I think she honestly does love Mario. She sees he's a great man. But there is that side of her that can't deny Jim when he's not acting like like he was in season 1 and 2. That Jim, I think she really does care for, and I think she would choose over Mario. So I think as Jim is slowly becoming that character, as we saw with that one scene, I think she's going to turn towards Jim, mainly because we see Mario in this episode is not quite the upstanding man that she wants to believe he is. I think he does have a side of him that's just very childish and very stubborn, I guess is the other word we could say. So all of that was really good. I'm trying to think if there's much else. There was one kind of random scene thrown in there with Barbara. She shows up at Lee's engagement party and just starts asking her, you're telling me you don't miss it? All the stuff with Jim, the darkness, being that close to the darkness all the time. And of course, typical crazy Barbara, which honestly, if you don't know, I'm a big fan of her character now. I was not in the first season. First season, she was very dull, very bland. After she became Crazy Barbara, she became a lot more fun to watch. So we're seeing that side of her again, and I don't know, it's just always fun whenever she's taunting somebody on screen, whether it's taunting Lee, taunting Jim. She's always a lot of fun to watch. She's like the female version of the Joker almost. So, yeah, it was kind of a random scene, but just a scene that kind of makes you feel like, okay, so she's trying to mess with Lee a little bit. I'm not sure why, but it's interesting. And then, of course, the other scene that I guess kind of thrown in there to have more Tetch is Barnes goes to see him in prison to ask him about the blood. And Tetch is taunting him. So we kind of see that Barnes, there is a side of him that wants to not be affected by the blood. He wants to try to get, but ultimately the blood is just taking over his mind completely, and it's a blood rush. Name of the title. So yeah, it was a good episode. Really enjoyed some of the twists it took. Really enjoyed some of the storylines. Just really popped out at me this time. And the characters are always fun to watch, but this episode they really stood out more. I feel like they've done such a good job so far this season that they deserve to take a bit of praise. They've done a really good job with the show, coming from season 1 where it felt like they were kind of bound by the story. They didn't really know what they wanted to do with the show. Season 3, it feels like they know what they want to do. It feels like they're kind of putting their own lore into the Batman universe. So it's very nice to see. It's a good little story they got going. So I'm excited to see where it's going. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What you like and dislike about this episode. Let me know what you talk about, discuss, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Gotham reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.